Good evening and welcome to Just the News. We have, of course, news about the new variant being detected in South Africa that's causing worry and concern across the globe. Here are the latest updates on that new variant to begin with. Now, this variant, like we told you yesterday, is being called B11529, detected in South Africa. It's been given the name NU. NU. This is the new variant. It has apparently caused concern across the globe because of the high number of mutations in its spike protein, which plays a key role in the virus's entry into cells in the body. I must point out here that the WHO has not had the chance, it will take a couple of weeks to study this variant and be able to tell us how serious it is, if it is more contagious, if it is likely to make people more sick. Also, what its reaction will be as far as our established vaccines are concerned. So all of that information we're still waiting on, but countries across the globe are becoming very cautious. The Union Health Ministry has directed state governments to rigorously screen passengers coming from 3 countries where this variant has already been detected, which is South Africa, Botswana and Hong Kong. The Union Health Secretary of the country, Rajesh Bhushan, has said the variant is reported to have significant number of high mutations. Thus is a serious public health implication for the country in view of the recently relaxed visa restrictions and the opening up of international travel. Across the globe, 7 countries, the UK, Singapore, Israel, Japan and others have announced restrictions on flights coming in from South Africa and other African countries. EU is proposing to ban flights from the region across the whole bloc. The World Health Organization has said it will take a few weeks, like I told you, to understand the impact of the new variant as scientists work to find out how transmissible it is. In the meantime, news that's already coming in from across the world says that in Japan, the border controls have been tightened and they're not allowing flights in from Africa. Passengers from the KL 598 flight from Johannesburg to Amsterdam are not being allowed to disembark from their aircraft at all. So quite serious reactions really coming in from across the world. And remember, we've been telling you now for several months, in fact, that while first world countries have managed very high levels of vaccination and now giving booster shots, the continent of Africa has not received enough shots to begin with, and so is very under-vaccinated or under-protected when it comes to COVID. And now if there is a new variant, there'll be concerns about the fact that the world has not done enough to protect the citizens of the globe in Africa. According to experts, the new variant is most heavily mutated version yet, which means there are high chances of the vaccine not being effective, but we don't know that right now. The Aviation Ministry in India has announced that India will resume scheduled international flights from the 15th of December onwards. The scheduled international flights, remember, were suspended in March last year during the COVID lockdown, and after that they were just these bubble flights or the Vande Bharat flights that were operating between India and other countries. They're extremely expensive. Now, if the scheduled flights come back on the 15th of December, then at least the cost of these flights should also come down. India has reported 10,549 new COVID cases and 488 deaths. This is higher than we've reported for the last couple of days. 10,000, we've been in the 7,000 to 9,000 bracket, so 10,000 is slightly high. And in other news, it is the 13th anniversary of the 26/11 attacks on the city of Mumbai. India has summoned senior diplomat of the Pakistani High Commission to convey that Islamabad must ensure an expeditious trial in this case. In its statement, the Ministry of External Affairs of India has said, and I quote, "It is a matter of deep anguish that even after 13 years of this heinous terror attack, the families of the 166 victims from 15 countries across the globe still await closure, with Pakistan showing little sincerity in bringing the perpetrators to justice." The Ministry of External Affairs also asserted that the terror attack was planned, executed and launched from Pakistani territory. It said, and I quote, "We once again call on the government of Pakistan to give up double standards and to expeditiously bring the perpetrators of the horrific attack to justice," end quote. We remember the heroes and those who were lost in the 26/11 attack on the city of Mumbai. It's been exactly 1 year since farmers began protesting at the borders of Delhi against the centre's 3 farm laws. The Bharatiya Kisan Union leader Rakesh Tikait has said, and I quote, Farmers from across the country have reached campsites to celebrate the one-year anniversary of the historic protest. We thank the government for its decision to repeal the laws, but our protest will continue until there is a decision on MSP for all crops. Last week, remember, the Prime Minister announced that the 3 laws will be repealed. In Tamil Nadu, the heavy rains continue. 5 people and about 152 heads of cattle have been lost to the heavy rainfall in the last 24 hours in Tamil Nadu alone. 2 people have died in the Tiruvannamalai district and 1 each in Ariyu, in Shivaganga and other districts. As many as 681 huts, 120 houses have been damaged by the rain. School and colleges have been closed. The Met Department has predicted isolated heavy to very heavy rainfall in Tamil Nadu, Puducherry and Karaikal for November 26th to 29th. The rains were triggered by a cyclonic circulation over the Bay of Bengal over the Sri Lankan coast. Remember, for the last several weeks, South India has received unseasonal, very heavy rain. We've had flood-like situations in Karnataka, in Tamil Nadu and in Andhra Pradesh. Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has announced that he will deposit 5,000 rupees into the bank accounts of all construction workers in the city of Delhi because of the suffering that they are currently going through, given the fact that construction activities have been banned because of air pollution. This comes after the Supreme Court earlier in the day reimposed the ban on construction activities in Delhi and the NCR region and directed state governments to provide subsistence to workers from the funds collected in labour cess. The non-polluting construction activities like plumbing work, interior decoration, electric work and carpentry are allowed for now. The Supreme Court today issued a notice on the plea challenging the appointment of Rakesh Asthana as Delhi Police Commissioner. The plea was first filed by the Centre for Public Interest Litigations, contending that the appointment was in violation of the Supreme Court's 2006 ruling in the Prakash Singh versus Union of India case, which basically laid down a fixed tenure for DGPs and said that only those with at least 6 months tenure remaining can be appointed as police chiefs. The petition was then dismissed, and the petitioner having approached the Supreme Court. Now remember, Rakesh Asthana is an IPS officer from the Gujarat cadre who was also appointed the head of the CBI, and that appointment as well came under several questions. Let's take a look now at news coming in from the world of business. The Sensex took a tumble today. The markets are reacting to the fact that there is a new variant in town and this might cause disruption in business. The Sensex fell about 3%. The Nifty was down as well. It hit an intraday low of 16,985, so coming below 17,000 there. Both benchmarks were at the lowest they have been in 3 months. This comes after the news of the new variant in South Africa caused disarray among investors. Edison Bank, Tata Steel, Maruti Suzuki, HDFC, Bajaj Finance and Titan were among the biggest losers on the Sensex. Meanwhile, the European stock markets also plunged about 2.7% on their track for the worst day since September last year. So markets really taking this virus or this variant fairly seriously. We have to take a look now at the price of tomatoes. Now remember, we've talked about the price of petrol and diesel. We've talked about the price of LPG. This time, it's tomatoes. Now, usually, a kg of tomatoes costs about 20 bucks a kg. It is now 75 rupees in the city of Delhi. There are reports in some other parts of the country it's cost 100 rupees for tomatoes. Southern states are worst affected. Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu struggling with floods as well, which means supply is down. There was a press release though today from the PIB. It said, and this is from the Government of India, it said tomatoes arrivals in December is expected to be on par with last year. Arrival from North Indian states will pick up in December, which will add to availability and lead to a fall in prices. In the meantime, prices of onions and capsicum are also increasing. Taking a look now at news coming in from the world of sports. PV Sindhu has entered the women's singles semi-finals at the Indonesia Open, defeating her South Korean counterpart on Friday. She will now face the contender from Thailand on Saturday. Meanwhile, India's Sai Praneeth will face Olympic gold medalist and Danish player Victor Axelsen in the men's singles quarterfinals. And another piece of positive news before we leave you for today. 2021 has been the year of unicorns for India. The startup industry is doing really well. Remember, a unicorn is a startup that's valued at over $1 billion. Online investment platform called Upstox has become the 40th startup to join that league. It has received a round of funding from Tiger Global, and it's been valued at $3 billion. Founded in 2009, Upstox is the 7th unicorn in this month alone. Brings us to the end of the news here. Thank you so much for tuning in and for listening. And as always, it is our pleasure to bring you the news. We're also doing a conversation on our YouTube page with experts about the new variant detected in South Africa and whether or not Indian citizens are going to need booster shots. Remember, many parts of the world are already handing out booster shots. That conversation is on our YouTube page. Take a look at it. Thank you for watching. Good night.